tired of bad chicken, dry, rubbery, or just good old-fashioned nasty, then this video's for you. I'm your favorite uncle, Uncle Bird. In today's video, I'm gonna show you where to get the chicken, how to prep it, how to cook it, and at the very end, I'm gonna show you my little secret. It's gonna make sure that the chicken is tender and juicy every time. Now, the first thing we got to do is we have to start with a normal sized chicken. Now, when I say a normal sized chicken, I'm talking about a chicken that's gonna be between 2 and 4 pounds. The smaller chickens just flat out make better barbecue because the meat is more tender and the skin is thinner, so it helps prevent that rubbery skin. Now, you're not gonna normally find these at a big box store. You're gonna have to go to what's called like an old people store, you know, where they got like country hams, lard, all that kind of stuff, plantation seasoning. They got something in there that say plantation seasoning, you probably in the right spot. Now, if all you got is one of them big ones, the technique, it'll work the same. It's just gonna take longer to cook and the skin just won't be as good. In this case, smaller is better. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna need a few tools to get going. We're gonna need a pair of OXO Good Grip poultry shears. We're gonna be using our 2-gallon food safe bucket, pick one up at Walmart. And we're also gonna use a 48 blade jacquard, which is a meat tenderizer, and it's also going to make our brine more effective. All right, today we're gonna be using about a 3.5 pound chicken. First thing we gotta do is go ahead and get this thing out the package. I start by making a cut in the bottom of the bag, and with the way this chicken is packaged, all I gotta do is make that one cut and I'll pull everything out. Now, you need to reach in there, remove the giblet bag or neck bone if it's present. On the whole chicken, to start by making a cut on the leg quarter. What that's gonna do is that's gonna help us remove any excess fat, and then it's also gonna make a little pocket for the seasonings later on. You're gonna use your knife or your poultry shears. In the case we're using poultry shears, we're gonna use that to cut off the excess portion of the neck, and then any excess fat and skin, you wanna go ahead and remove that now. But you don't wanna remove too much, because we're gonna need that to protect the breast while it's cooking. Your finger to gently work your way around the breast to separate it, but you don't want to pull it all the way off. So you just gotta be careful. Don't go in there like a caveman. And you want to do the same thing for your leg quarter. Now, once you got the skin separated from the meat, you want to go ahead and use a jacquard to tenderize the chicken. You want to hit it 3 times in the breast. You want to make sure at least one of them is going to be on the side. Then you want to do the same thing for the leg quarters. Make sure that one of the times that you hit it is going to be in the joint, and then another time is going to be in the thigh. Now we ready for the brine. Here's the thing. If you cooking modern poultry, you have got to brine, because if you don't brine, it's gonna be dry. Now, I know some people say that if a solution has already been added to the meat to not brine it, man, don't listen to them. Go ahead and still brine that chicken. Just try it for yourself and you'll see. Still needs to be brined. Just don't leave it in there forever. You really don't want to have the chicken in the brine for more than 8 hours. Otherwise, it'd be too salty. I use a simple brine because it's cheap and effective. Here's a little known fact. The only thing small enough to penetrate the cell wall of the meat is the salt molecule. So the rest of that stuff that you put in there, all that star anise, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, all that stuff you put in there, just going down the sink, you wasting money. And if you got money like that, hell, why don't you send me some? Cash App and PayPal down in the description. All you're gonna need is a 2-cup measuring cup, and it can be glass or plastic, long as it's clear. You're gonna start by putting 1 cup of water into your measuring cup, and then you're gonna take your salt. It could be plain salt, iodized, doesn't matter, just plain salt will be perfect. You pour that in to your measuring cup until the water level reaches 1.5 cups. Stir it up so you don't make sure that it's mixed real well, and then you're gonna pour that slurry into your 1-gallon container. You're gonna fill that up to the 4-quart mark. You're gonna mix it well, and then once it's mixed well and it's clear and all the salt is dissolved, make sure that you use cold water. Do not use warm water. The salt will still dissolve at the same rate, and then you ain't gotta worry about causing the E. coli, salmonella, Camelback to explode. Don't nothing say bad barbecue like E. coli and salmonella. Now that you got the brine made, you're gonna pour that over the chicken that we got in our 2-gallon bucket. You can just put a plate on the top and then put it in the refrigerator. You're gonna let it brine for 8 hours. So if you're not ready to cook it at the end of that 8-hour brine time, just go ahead and rinse it off, put it on a different plate, or you can rinse out the bucket and put it back in there, and you don't have to worry about it being too salty because the brine process will stop once you take it out of the water. Let's go ahead and get this bird out the brine. We're gonna wanna rinse it off. Now, don't turn the water up high as it can get. What you wanna do is have a small stream about the size of a number 2 pencil, and we're gonna use that to rinse off all the excess salt and any of them nasty little bits that remain from the bird. If you do not rinse your chicken, it is gonna be way too salty, like country ham salty. Now we got it rinsed. Let's go ahead and get this thing seasoned up. Start with the raw cane sugar. We're gonna season underneath the breast by pulling the skin back, and we're gonna drop the sugar down into that little pocket that we created. Do the same thing on the leg quarters. Sprinkle a little bit on the outside, and we're gonna be good with our sugar. At this point, this is where you wanna take your salt-free rub. I'm using Uncle Bird's henpecked seasoning. It's made out of granulated garlic, granulated onion, various seasons and spices, and a whole lot of love. Go ahead and take your salt-free rub and sprinkle it underneath the skin of the breast. Again, drop that into the pocket that we created. Do the same thing on the leg quarters, and then you wanna go ahead and sprinkle on the outside and then on the inside. So flip it upside down. Drop some seasoning in there. That way you'll be able to hit the inside, the bottom of the breast, and on the inside of the leg quarter. So that way we're gonna have seasoned meat. I know you done been to a barbecue that sat down, got your plate, bit into the chicken, skin come off, all the flavor gone. Ain't got nothing under there but hospital food. Yeah, season underneath the skin to prevent that. All right, so now we gotta cook this thing. We're gonna be using the 22-inch Weber kettle, a slow and sear, which in my opinion is the best thing since sliced bread and penicillin. And we're gonna need some tongs, lump charcoal, and some hickory chunks. There's a couple different things you can do to start your chimney. You can use what called tumbleweeds. Me, I use plain old newspaper because it's cheap and I got it around the house. Make sure you use the one that ain't shiny. It's got to be dull or flat with the newsprint. Don't be in there trying to light the chimney with Sports Illustrated. Somebody gonna die in your house. Ball up your newspaper and put it into the bottom of your chimney starter. Pull your lump charcoal in there and then light it up. And then once it's about halfway lit, go ahead and dump your hot coals into your slow and sear. Make sure they spread it out evenly, and then drop your couple of your hickory chunks on there. Put the top back on so it can start to heat up. For minutes, we'll come back and take a ball of paper or something and then clean the grill. You wanna make sure that you place the chicken in the middle of the grill. Dark meat is pointed towards the fire. This, along with the brine, will help protect the breast from overcooking. Make sure that your exhaust is on the same side as your chicken because you want the heat to flow up and over before it goes out. Meat is going to continue to absorb smoke long as you keep the surface wet. So if you want to get it real smoky with that good heavy smoke on it, go ahead and spray it a couple times throughout the cook with distilled white vinegar. Just use plain white vinegar. All right, now it's time for the magic. We're getting close to where our chicken's getting done. So what we want to do, prepare our cooler by preheating it so that it'll give us a place for the chicken to rest. And that's going to allow the juices and the temperature and the heat in the meat to redistribute and let the muscle fibers relax. You're going to need a small cooler. What you want to do is you want to fill your cooler with super hot water, and then you want to close it for 15 to 20 minutes. After it's been closed for about 15 to 20 minutes, go ahead and empty the cooler out, and of course you want to dry it out. It's up to you. I kind of beat my coolers up. You can put a piece of clean cardboard down at the bottom to kind of protect it, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the chicken off the grill and then we're going to put it in the cooler so that it can rest for about 30 minutes. I don't use a towel. What I do is I'll blow up some Ziploc bags and put those on top of the meat to act as an insulator instead of that towel, because the towel just gets real nasty. Before we put the chicken into the cooler to rest, we're going to wrap it up. What that does is that wrap and then leaving it on there for about another 20 minutes. That's going to make sure that everything gets rendered, all the cartilage and fat gets rendered, so that it'll basically pull the chicken apart once it comes out of the cooler. Be the most tender thing. You can eat it without any teeth. All right, looking good. So, see if we can carve it with a spoon. Hot as hell. Ooh-wee, that's some good chicken. You seen it. Look at that. Chicken so tender. Carve it with a spoon. This is my granddaddy would say, This is gonna be about the size of it. Hey, and if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And go ahead and watch the next video.